future. Ito ang tambalang isip at mainayo. The machine. Nagsimula sa isang ideya, isang tanong, paano kung may katulong ka? Brain and metal, hand in hand, tayo lilipad, no limit sa land. Sabay tayong gagalaw, kayo at makina'y magtatagumpay. Boses ng isip, lakas ng AI, sama-sama we will touch the sky. Kayo and the machine, tara let's build a dream. Tagalog in English, walang limit, isip, puso, makina, solid. Kayo and the machine, dito walang it's just a meme. Ideas na extreme, welcome to the future. Kayo an M machine, kausap mo'y di lang tao, may tech na rin na di patalo. Analysis to innovation, sama ka sa evolution. Sabay tayong gagalaw, kayo at makina'y magtatagumpay. Boses ng isip, lakas ng AI, sama-sama we will touch the sky. Kayo and the machine, tara let's build a dream. Tagalog in English, walang limit, isip, puso, makina, solid. Kayo and the machine, dito walang it's just a meme. Ideas na extreme, welcome to the future. Kayo and the machine.
Code sa dugo, thoughts sa flow, breaking barriers, let's go, go, go. Mind ng tao, speed ng machine, limitless hustle para sa dream. Future's here, kami ang daan, knowledge is power, walang iwanan. Kayo and the machine, bagong kilusan, brain meets tech, that's the plan.
Kayo and the machine, tara let's build a dream. Tagalog in English, walang limit, isip, puso, makina, solid. Kayo and the machine, dito walang it's just a meme. Ideas na extreme, welcome to the future. Kayo,
Brain, heart, and tech. Kayo and the machine, level up tayo dito. Pray you and the machine, level up tayo dito.
Yo! Welcome back sa ating si Kuching nandyan ulit oh. Oh, madami na yung nagbabalik ka. Dahil sa oras no. Dahil sa oras, shoutout sa inyo lahat ha. O ito yung kay Paulo. Well, majority naman nung review niya, okay naman. Okay naman para sa akin. Meron lang siyang dalawang na hindi naintindihan siguro sa argument. Nagpang-abot pala si Caio sa Rizal. Mukhang may tatalo na kay Enrile. British Museum lols. Good morning Caio. Hello. Welcome back sa home court. Shoutout sa inyo lahat ha. Shoutout sa inyo lahat. Shoutout sa inyo. Let's go. Let's do this.
Nangyari debate sa pagitan ni Gabe at Pinoy Extreme at Caio. So ngayon,
Ang pangit ko naman
re-review natin na nangyari debate sa pagitan ni Gabe at Pinoy Extreme at Caio.
Ba't naman sa bagay mukha akong prof no? Parang Ano?
So ngayon, alam niyo na mailig tayo sa mga debate.
Team Why Not? Oo. Let's go. Let's go.
Nanood na natin to before ng iba't iba mga debate online at nakita naman natin gaano ka-formal at ka-constructive yung mga debate na yun kahit minsan nagiging mapusok yung mga estudyante.
Buti pa si Caio, feature ni Paulul, pero si Andy, uy, huwag mo na paalala yan. Huwag mo na paalala yan. Ang tuleksan, I'm working from home. I work 2 jobs and I'm spending my free time watching you and learning more. Huwag mo na paalala yan kay Nico David. Si Paulol kasi, hindi man lang kiluntin si Nico David. Oh, game.
Estudyante. Ngayon tingnan natin kung sila mismo ay magiging civil at may matututunan ba tayo sa kanila. Ngayon, meron naman silang format na napag-usapan pero kung sa mga nakakaalam dyan, yung sa Jawa, mga pagdatusapan na to, dahil ganun talaga dito, kaya natin lagi bumalik doon.
They should be fine.
Telling women what to wear is just
Telling women what to wear is just control hidden behind the guide of concern. The guys siguro yan, the guys.
control hidden behind the guise of concern.
Unang-una, it doesn't follow, no? Kasi yung sinasabing telling women what they should wear, so unang-una, like for example, kapag ka sinasabi mo may risk factor na ma-sexually harass ka at night and with that kind of clothing, as a risk management,
Ayan
you
na,
should wear
pinag-comment.
that. But if you want to attract, like a hooker, you want to attract men para sa customer mo, you should wear revealing clothing. So, it's actually goal-oriented and focused. So, you cannot argue either side.
So sinasabi niya dito na yung claim mismo ay mali. Kapag sabi sa tao ko ano kailangan susuotin, ay hindi niya kino-confirm or deny. Kumbaga, hindi siya control ang pinag-uusapan.
Ang issue ko lang
There it is. Oh, hindi control. Gets niya rin eh. Gets niya. Oh, buti pa siya gets niya eh, no? Oh.
doon is it doesn't follow.
Actually, Paulul, it can either way. You can talk about control, you cannot talk about control, pero the issue is it doesn't follow. Kumbaga, think about it this way, Paulul. If we're talking about control, what do we mean by control? Ayun yung actually pinaka-underrated na argument ni Pinoy Extreme. Ano, pakita ko sa inyo.
O di, huwag na ikaw, dapat si...
People keep saying na walang naiambag o mahina si Pinoy Extreme, pero he actually explained that. No. He actually explained that. Ayun yung yung foundation kong yon, and explain ni Pinoy Extreme yon, actually. Nag-expound siya doon, and then siya in-explain niya ng maayos yon. So, ayun yung sinasabi ko na napaka, ano tawag ito, underrated. Siguro dahil unang-una, experience naman ako talaga sa debate, right? Okay, hindi ko naman pwede i-compare yung sarili ko kay Pinoy Extreme. Pero, think about it this way. Oh, tingnan natin ha. Gabe, but what you mean is
and by people that they sa pagganit of us and
kailan kami pwede
Ngayon 5 minutes tayo.
Oh.
we have taken meron siyang platform to speak.
Sige.
Okay, so hindi pa ako nag-rebuttal after na ng Pinoy Extreme, ganun ba?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go. Oh, ayan. Oh, tama ha. Tingnan niyo kung paano niya i-build up. Paano niya i-build up yung buong argumento ko. Nagbigay ako ng pundasyon. Finil niya. Tingnan niyo ha. Napaka-underrated itong part na to.
So, wait lang. Pauunahin ko si Kayo para maituloy niya yung gusto niya. Kasi,
Ay, teka, nasan ba siya doon? Claim 1 yan, di ba? Claim 1? Teka, hindi yan eh.
That we cannot change your
Okay.
UN
Psychology.
on sa pagiging victim nila.
2011.
coalition
Al. Puting ko sa lahat.
Pinoy with my gusto.
Here. Pakinggan nyo mabuti. He actually give clarification. Binigyan niya, kumbaga, ako yung nag-set up ng buto. Nilagyan niya ng laman. Ito.
Ito ka bang sabihin, Tol?
Ayun, well, yung studies kasi na binigay mo kanina, it's not going to be absolutely the only studies about sexual harassment that is related to dress. Okay? Now, there are multiple studies that also is saying that dress has a factor doon sa pagiging victim nila. And kung may bibigay si Kayo ngayon, well, ako rin naman meron akong maibibigay, but kahit ibigay ko siya ngayon, but if we are going to pursue on those studies, the answer or yung dress na yun, just basahin.
Oh.
If you could just do what Caillou
Ba't ganon? Mali. Na it is Ano ba?
Yung dress, are we controlling?
Ano? I think I'm good. Ito,
Alright, thank
pakinggan nyo ito mabuti. Di ba sinabi ko yung isn't not? Anyway natin yung kay Paulol.
Customer mo, use you at night and with that like
All hidden behind the guise of concern.
unang-una, it doesn't follow, no? Kasi yung sinasabing telling women what they should wear, so unang-una, like for example, kapag ka sinasabi mo may risk factor na ma-sexually harass ka at night and with that kind of clothing, as a risk management, you
Ayan na,
shouldn't wear
pinag-comment.
that. But if you want to attract, like a hooker, you want to attract men para sa customer mo, you should wear revealing clothing. So, it's actually goal-oriented and focused. So, you cannot argue either side.
So sinasabi niya dito na yung claim mismo ay mali. Kapag sabi sa tao ko ano kailangan susuotin, ay hindi niya kino-confirm or deny. Kumbaga, hindi siya control ang pinag-uusapan.
Ang issue
But it can be controlled. The problem is, it doesn't necessarily follow na control yon. Guess nyo, control yon. Hindi kagad. So, kaya ako nagbigay ng, okay, two ways. Una, yung may mga taong sexually harassed and then ang nangyayari is you have to mitigate there. But there are people na, like the hookers, they actually dress that way to attract customers. So, the issue here is not about what ought to be sa clothing, kundi what's your goal. Right? The question is, what's your goal? Yun yung unang question. Ngayon, it's not really about control. Even if it is, ito yung explanation. Even if it is control, this is the explanation pinrovide ni Pinoy Extreme.
you, Sir Caillou. Let's proceed with Pinoy Extreme and his time.
Okay. Now, the first claim, telling women what to wear is just control. Now, the first question is, what are we trying to control?
What are we trying to control? Ito yung kanina, it doesn't necessarily follow na it is control, but if it is control, this is the explanation. This is the explanation. What are we trying to control? Assuming it's true na it is control, what are we trying to control?
Are we controlling the effects of the dress towards the person who's going to perceive the dress? Kasi,
Right. Why? Katulad nga na sinabi ko, isasabihin niya ng example, di mo,
yung dress kasi is more of like a perception ng ibang tao na makakakita sa tao. Katulad nga nung sinabi ni Caio na ano yung goal mo in dressing.
the certain way, right?
Now, kailangan din ma-identify doon sa ano ba yung gusto mong kontrolin doon sa pagde-dress mo. Like for example, yung example ni Caio kanina na if you want to attract people sexually, edi magsuot ka ng hooker dress.
Okay, in that case, in that instance, who's being controlled? The woman or the man? That's his point. Kaya sabi ko, napaka-underrated ng argument na yon. People don't see it. That's a very important argument. He supplied the explanation for my foundation. Ako yung gumawa ng buto. Siya yung naglagay ng laman. Salamat. Si papaitan niya, di ba? Pang 3-in-1 coffee, bro. Papaitan ba yan? Papaitan nga. Nagets nyo? Kasi, in that case, let's say, it is control. It is in fact control. Pero who's being controlled? Is it the men or the women? Because, dun sa kabilang side, if it's about, dun sa context ng hooker, the man is being controlled. Paano nyo naiisip yan, Sir Caio? No, naisip din ni Pinoy Extreme. That's why explaining it that way. Hindi ko naisip yan. Siya yung nakaisip yan. Yung explanation na yan. Kasi, which perception, who is being controlled here? Kasi, guys of control, we have to talk about what do you mean control? Assuming it is true that it is control, who's being controlled? Kasi doon sa example ko, dalawa. Right? Yung hooker, doon siya nag-focus. Like for example, yung hooker is trying to attract a customer. In that case, who's being controlled? The man. Right? Kaya lagi ko sinasabi, napaka-underrated itong argument na to. Agree, dress can be used as a weapon. Exactly. Kuching, di ba? Kaya nga sabi ko, it doesn't follow. You cannot argue either way. This is a very good argument, actually. Underrated.
If you want to attract people in a smart manner, you could
Ang galing mo po mag-impromptu, sir.
dress in a smart casual, or if you want
Okay, explanation there. Okay, ano explanation dyan? Sa mga nag-ano ng insurance, St. Peter, kung ano-ano man, they want to present themselves as professionals even if they're not. Kasi maraming mga ganyan na hindi naman college graduate, hindi naman ng business, right? Hindi naman eh. But, they can actually affect the perception of the perceiver because of their clothing. Right? Question. In that case, who's being controlled? The perceiver or the one being perceived?
to basta dress has
Nakamute
dress
ako,
has
guys.
a purpose, and
Ano ka ba
there
naman?
might be like an unwanted effect on some
What?
dresses. Like for example, isa sa madalas na sinasabi dyan sa dress, hindi ko naman intention yung ma-attract sila sexually. But katulad din ng sinabi ni Kayo kanina, we are deriving from, or we are getting what should versus doon sa what is. Yun
Exactly. That's why we cannot do that. Pero kasi sabi ko lang, this argument, yung binigay ng unang bitaw ni ni Pinoy Extreme, the most underrated argument. Yung buto na nilagyan ko, boom, ito yung skeleton. Nilagyan niya ng laman. I don't know why you think na hindi nag-perform si doon. Anyway.
Gusto ko lang doon is it doesn't follow.
O di, wag na ikaw, dapat si Pinoy Extreme. Ibig sabihin, hindi niya gustong i-rebut itong claim na ito kasi para sa kanya, he doesn't follow itong claim mo na control ang pinag-uusapan. Hindi yun.
Kasi ang question dito,
Pero, binigay ko yung either side. Binigay ko yung either side. Kasi, it doesn't follow. Kumbaga, if I'm going to answer that question, it needs to be clear. Control in the sense of, kinokontrol yung woman, yung dress, kasi you cannot argue either way. Pero ang tinik na path ni Pinoy Extreme is, sinuplayan niya ng argument yung kabilang side. Kasi ako, it doesn't follow. Sa kanya, inaccept niya. Okay, let's say it is control. But the question is, who is being controlled? Diba? That's so beautiful. Right? Kompleto. It's a symphony. Siya yung mga lower notes. But yung buong symphony is walang, nasa bass siya. Hindi mabubuo yun. Right?
is the title is women's clothing a factor in sexual harassment? So I don't think Gabe would deny na it is happening in reality. I think kaya nga siya nagkakaroon ng advocacy na ganito yung gawin. Kasi may mga tao na they think that way. So if he agrees na there are people who think that way, then it implies that it's happening in reality.
So sinasabi niya na dahil nilabas mo tong claim na ito, nangyayari talaga siya.
Regardless of what the women should and should not wear.
Ikaw na pansin, men, para pala itong mansplaining kami lahat.
Totoo. Kasi alam mo bakit? Bakit sinasabi kang awkward ng position niya? Na parang you have to agree. Kasi ang ginagawa niya is nag-equivocate siya sa sexual harassment. Ang ibig niya sabihin is assault. Ang sinasabi ko, no, in general, kasi sino yung kino-call out mo, di ba yung mga nambabastos at nag-thirst trap, right? So don't tell me, ang argument mo is kino-call out mo yung mga yun, they are perpetrator themselves. Di sabihin mo, yung mga yan is nangyayari sa bahay. Ano yun? Nag-thirst trap yung kapatid nila, yung anak nila, tapos magko-comment sila ng ano? That doesn't make any sense. Right? It's so awkward. Ano yun? Papanoorin mo yung kamag-anak mo, yung kaklase mo, tapos magko-comment ka? So, ginagawa niya, nag-equivocate siya sa harassment as if it is equivalent to assault. Sabi ko, you have to agree it's happening. Kasi who are you calling out then? Para sa akin, iba yung ina-argue nung Gabe. Pero at the same time, lumalaban at nagko-contradict yung sinasabi niya sa point mo. Gulo eh. Na ano?
Kasi wala di isang babae dito. Sana may isang nasama dun na babae din para marinig natin yung sa kanilang side din mismo. Alam ko na hindi naman natin binibase sa gender kung gaano ka-legitimate ang isang logical na argument
Exactly.
or sagot. Pero
Saka I don't have to care.
maganda lang din makita ng isa pang viewpoint na galing sa babae. Dahil ang pinag-uusapan natin
Actually, yung viewpoint ng babae is yung sa pro side sa pro side ay yung kay Gabe na. Actually, ine-echo lang niya naman yung mga arguments din nila.
dito ay mostly sa babae.
Whether it is bad to wear that or it's not bad. Kasi ang
Subjective
issue ko
yun,
dito
no?
is you're trying to conflate is and ought. We cannot
Okay.
derive an ought
So
from
ought is ano parang ought to be is ideal and is ano yung nangyayari talaga sa mundo regarding that.
is it happening in reality na may mga na ganong sexually harassed
Oh, huling-huli ka May nagko-coach sa'yo. Oh, huling-huli. Oh.
because of the revealing?
Mundo regarding that.
Is it happening in reality na may mga na ganong sexually harassed because of the revealing clothes?
Di ba? 2v2 naman palalabanan eh. Siguro yung na-explain sa kanya yung is and ought. Parang, tapos tinatry niya makinig sa akin habang nakikinig sa huli.
They disrespect the women because of that? Yes. If it's yes, okay, that's
Yun
it.
yung is.
So, kapag pinag-usapan natin yung what ought to be done,
Ito ni ought.
well, may problema na tayo doon kasi not because it is happening in reality, then we ought to do this or ought not to do that. Hindi pwede yun. So, you're conflating two things ng kung ano yung fact tsaka ano yung value. So, I guess, kailangan muna natin malaman kung agree ba si Gabe na it is happening in reality.
Wait, paano ba yung format nito? Like, pwede sila mag-reply sa gitna? Kasi,
No. It's still a mystery, Paulo. It's still a mystery.
dati sa mga ganitong debate format, meron kang minutes eh. At yung minutes doon sa part
Okay.
kayo.
Panoorin nyo na lang doon.
Ay yung mismo ang argument or dito ngayon ay mga claim.
Alright, thanks Sir Caio. Let's proceed with Pinoy Extreme and his...
Kung ako si Pinoy Extreme dito bago siya magsalita, sasabihin ko lang din yung sinabi ni Caio. Kasi pwede mo ipaglaban naman yung claim mismo ay it doesn't follow or hindi sila nagkakasunod eh.
Which is what Pinoy Extreme did. Even Paulul would do the same thing kung ano yung ginawa ni Pinoy Extreme. So, marami na namimintas kay Pinoy Extreme na ginamit niya lang yung argument ko. Yeah, kasi yun yung buto, yun yung skeleton ng argumento. But even Paulo recognized, I would just build up on that. Even Paulo recognize it.
Na Now, the first claim, telling women what to wear is just control. Now, the first question is, what are we trying to control? Are we controlling
I think ang meaning is women mismo eh.
the effects of
Actually, kung ang ibig sabihin is women mismo, it doesn't follow nga. Kasi, paano nga yung mga nagsusuot na to attract? Yun yung point eh. So, we're not. Diba?
the dress towards
Gusto mag-Charlie Kirk.
the person who's going to perceive the dress? Kasi
Kasalanan ba yun?
yung
Nagsusuot?
dress kasi is more of like a perception ng ibang tao na makakakita.
No, ang idea is, yung hindi kasalanan ng nagsuot, pero siya yung nangongontrol. Guess mo? Hindi yung lalaki nangongontrol, kundi yung babae nangongontrol sa perception nung perceiver.
Sa
External?
Katulad
Yes.
nga nung sinabi ni Kayo na ano yung goal mo in dressing. Now, kailangan din ma-identify ano ba yung gusto mong kontrolin doon sa pagde-dress mo. Like for example, yung example ni Kayo kanina na if you want to attract people sexually, edi magsuot ka ng hooker
Pwede
dress.
hooker na ano, okay.
If you want to attract people in a smart manner, you could dress in a smart casual or dress has a purpose and
Parang dress codes.
there might be an unwanted
It depends on the goal. Kaya nga sabi ko, it depends on the goal. Mas na-appreciate ko argumento ni PX ngayon. Gusto naman siya nung debate pero mas lumutang ngayon paghihimay. Paghinimay. Kaya man katanong, you don't get it. Kung mapansin nyo, dun ako tumira sa major. And then ang ginawa ni Pinoy Extreme is finilap niya yung peripherals. Tapos nilagyan niya ng laman. Sabi ko, ito yung pinaka-underrated na argumento niya. Because kung maiintindihan mo yung argumento niya, that's the whole point of my argument.
effect on some dresses. Like for example, isa sa madalas na sinasabi dyan sa dress, hindi ko naman intention yung ma-attract sila sexual.
Which is sinabi ko rin yan. That's not my... Kumbaga, I cannot control that if people associate how they perceive the hooker, the way they dress, the dress they're using to actually control them. And then there are other women who actually dress that way. And then the perceiver actually conflated the two because there are people here, may women din dito, na you are using the dress as well to attract, but they're not hookers. So you're creating a mix. Nagkakaroon ka ng distortion sa perception, right? I cannot control that. Nagets nyo?
But katulad din ng sinabi ni Kayo kanina, we are deriving from, or we are getting what should versus doon sa what is. Yun yung result nung dress sa kanila eh. So we need first to identify ano yung gusto nating kontrolin doon sa pagsasabi natin kung ano ba yung gusto nilang suotin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nawala kasi credibility PX paano puro ad hominem. Actually tama si Josh point doon eh. Pumayag kasi si PX. Mabait pa sa totoong buhay Mabait yan. Tamo ako siya sabi niya, I'm not gonna argue with you semantics. I don't think you understand semantics. Pero sabi niya, kung makikita mo yung comment section, but I'm not debating them, I'm debating you. Tapos sinasabi niya, well, ayun kasi yung stand ni PX but you're talking to me. Lahat ng mga ganun niya, teka lang, anong kinalaman nila? Here, look at me. Here. Eyes here. Eyes up here. Okay? Huwag sa abs ko. Sorry. Hey. Eyes over here. Nope. Eyes over here. Here. Mas nakilala ka pa tuloy masyado sa TikTok Kayo. Oo nga eh. Taga-flattered. Eyes up here. Not on my abs. Joke lang.
I think ang meaning niya is ano yung sasabihin mo sa isang tao na kanilang suotin sa kung ano yung risk na pwede mangyari pag ito yung kanyang sinuot. I think yun yung gusto niya sabihin.
That's my
Yeah.
that's my answer to that first claim. I'm good.
Bah, sige, uy, tapos na. Ay, yan na naman eh. Punta mo si Melo Yap doon. May problema yung sa scandal yata. Punta mo doon, Crystal Lee. Kamustahin mo? Do you want to be real boy, Gabe? You're so gay. Ha! Stop looking at my abs! Eyes here! Up here! Up here! help him finish daw. Hindi, ang sabi niya, let me finish. Triggered mo ba naman? Kaya bam sa TikTok eh. Fairy godmother kay Pinocchio.
Alright, thank you both for your first claims. I just wanna make a clarification just so that I understand where you're coming from.
At ito, sa pagdating sa debate, maganda rin na nire-reform mo back sa kanila para hindi mo siya ma-misinterpret at hindi mo rin ma-misrepresent yung kausap mo.
Ang sinabing first example ni Kayo is if you're a hooker,
I think yung strongest niya dito na argument is yung ought and is.
more revealingly to attract customers, right? So I think I want to understand, do you think of women as not hookers but who dress revealingly as hookers?
Well, sabi niya, ito yung hooker.
Tama, hindi niya pa rin na-gets. Hindi pa rin na-gets niya, no? Ni Gabe. Sabi ko nga, hindi mo nga pwedeng i-assume eh. Yun nga yung problema. It doesn't follow nga eh. Nagigets mo ba? Yun nga yung is and ought. Gets mo? But they are being used for strategy. That's the point. It depends on your goal. Ba't mo ihiwala yung hooker kagad? Because that's my very example na ni-use nila yung dress, clothing, to attract customers. Bakit mo itchapuera? Hindi na sila babae? Nasa gutter, kaya nga it doesn't follow eh. Yung victim ka na, pero hindi ka pa victim, pero assume na victim ka. Pero hindi ko sure kung magiging victim ka. You summarize it real well. You're good at summary. Yes. Yung victim blaming in advance. Ayan yun. Yung victim ka na, pero hindi ka pa victim. Pero assume na victim ka na. Pero hindi ko sure kung magiging victim ka. Ganon. You got that right. That's what he means. Yeah, seriously, that's what he means.
Dress. Okay, nagsuot ako na isang hooker dress. Hooker na ba ako? Yun yung isa kong tanong eh. Giniginaw ako.
Which one is correct? Which one is right? I'm not saying that kasi nga, I cannot derive an ought from an is. Kung
Okay.
ang nangyayari sa, ang phenomena na nangyayari,
Yeah, kasi yun nangyayari sa realidad. Yun yung term niya. Kung ano yung nangyayari dito sa mundo, hindi mo pwedeng sabihan niya ng ought. Kasi hindi yun yung nangyayari. So hindi mo pwedeng, ito dapat yan. Diba? Dapat. Kasi argument to eh. Nagbibigay ka ng claim at ano ang data mo behind that claim at ano ang evidence mo behind that claim. Tapos ito yung magiging rebuttal. Ano yung magpapahina doon sa claim mo? Ano yung ilalaban doon sa claim mo? So magkaibang mundo yung ought and is.
Exactly. Magkaibang mundo yun kasi a statement of value na yung ought. Kumbaga kung ang issue natin is statements of ought, labanan ng ought, okay, here we go. Let's do it. Back to earth, Gabe. Baka din talaga nag-declare siya ng the better debater. Eh, sabi niya eh. Para siya si Melo Yap. He's the winner, better debater. Oh, siya lang yung nanalo sa debate na tinago yung videos namin. Ang pinost nila yung kay Pinoy Extreme eh. Hindi niya pinost sa amin eh. Bakit kaya, Gabe? Para kasi Melo Yap. Si Melo Yap lang yung proud na panalo na tinago yung video namin. Ang lulupit niyong maging panalo, no? Tinatago yung trophy niyo, no? Ang galing eh. Ewan. Ako yun i-display ko. Di ba?
there are people who actually associate yung revealing clothing as doon sa mga hookers,
Yes.
then it's just happening in reality, so I cannot control that. So,
Alright.
hiwalay, kailangan natin ihiwalay yung is tsaka yung ought. What ought to be done is separate from what is happening. So,
Alright.
if you agree that it is happening, hindi natin kayang i-derive on what ought and what ought not to be done. Kasi the idea here is clothing, women's clothing, a factor in sexual harassment? And our position is a yes.
Okay.
So, I think that
Okay.
that's it. That's all. Parang I'm still confused.
Sige, I think we can come to a better understanding once I give. I don't think it's a
Ayun yung sagot actually, Paulul, sa tanong mo. Kapag ba ikaw ay nagsuot ng hooker dress, is hooker ka na? Well, the issue is, I cannot control if they perceive you as a hooker. Why? Because they make that association. Because a person without the knowledge of what a hooker is cannot possibly associate you with a hooker. Because that person cannot access that knowledge. Unless there are porn sites. Right? Baka ibig niya sabihin, best na baiter ng hate para sa views. Hindi niya makita yung danger ng paniniwala niya.
rebuttal, but it's more like a question. I think
May assumption na agad. Perception pa din eh.
to start, Albert Einstein poses that doing insanity means that doing the same thing
Ulit-ulit,
over and over
baliw.
again, expecting the same results. And I would argue that
Yeah, a good bumper sticker, but do you know what it means? See, ito yung problema kay Gabe eh. You assume that we are not in the same footing. Equal footing tayo dyan. Why? Because all I have to do is provide one instance na it happened. So wala na yung generalization mo. You can do the same thing to me. Just find one na hindi naging affected because of clothing, then debunk na yung sinasabi ko. Because it was never presented as a deductive method. It was presented as an inductive one. Just like your position. Don't pretend na hindi ka rin kumbaga ganito, you're trying to bash us, but we are in the same boat on the methodology. Kasi I can give you one, you can give me one, and now what? Because it's not actually a universal claim. Ikaw lang yung gustong mag-assume na universal yan. We're talking about the psyche of people. There are no universal laws for that. That's why psychology is not science. Anyway. It's humanities. Nasa humes yun, di ba? Wala naman sa STEM yun eh. Di ba? Nasabi ko lang.
men or even women in general have been telling women what to wear ever since before you and I were born. Ang dami ng mga tao, not even content creators, but like society in general have been telling women what to wear. Sige, you
See, nakita mo siya. Well, sa palagay mo ba, wala nagko-call out simulat sa poll? So, yung quote ni Einstein applies to you too. Nonsense.
keep saying that it happens in reality. Let's look at what the
Say naman.
reality has in store for victims of sexual harassment. And
Slow mo yung pag-inom.
this is not just exclusive to women. 97,
Okay.
I could be wrong, you can fact check me on this.
Statistics na to.
97% of sexual harassment cases does not happen outside but inside the homes or near
Ayan, sabi ko, wait, if that's your document or if that's your justification, hindi ba awkward yung position mo? Who are you calling out then? If it happens at home, ano yun, nanonood yung tatay niya bago siya abusuhin? Ganon? Sige, nak-TikTok ka, ganon? Ang sexy mo naman. Ganon? Ganon ba? Kailan kaya kita matitikman? Pero nasa loob sila ng bahay. Nakita mo siya, sabi ko na, dude, ang awkward ng position mo, sino yung kino-call out mo? So sa bahay pa lang may SH na. Hindi, bakit pa sila magko-comment sa TikTok? Kasi yung kino-call out mo yung nasa TikTok, right? Kina-catcall sariling anak or kapatid. Sabi niya eh. Sabi ka, hindi mo man nakikita ang awkward ng position mo. Ang lala, kailan kaya kita Di ba? Di ba ganun naman yun sa mga comment section? Yan si Melo Yap, tanongin mo kay Melo Yap. Ayan si ano? Andiyan pa ba si ano? Si Crystal Lee? Hindi pa ginaganyan ka ni Melo Yap? O edi ibig sabihin nangyayari, in reality, kaso ang problema, kino-conflate niya, nag-equivocate siya sa sexual harassment as it only means assault. Kasi sino pala yung kino-call out mo?
the homes. Women who report that they were sexually harassed were not harassed outside the homes. Ibig sabihin po nun, yung mga taong nahaharas, hindi po sila
So hindi totoo may nangaharas sa TikTok, sa Facebook, hindi totoo yun. Right? Nakikita mo na kung gano'n ka-awkward yung position mo, Gabe.
naharas sa labas ng mga bahay nila, kundi mostly sa loob o malapit sa bahay nila.
So sinasabi ito na hindi strangers ang nangaharas
At saka hindi call out niya GF niya.
sa kanila, kundi mga taong kakilala na nila.
Mga kakilala na ng mga babae ang nagiging
Gaya nga ng sabi nila Joey at Sas, yung catcalling hindi yan nire-report. Exactly. Ayan, nandun din sa study niya. Yung hindi nag-report, walang pakialam. Nandun sa study niya. Yung ano niya sa Egypt, andun.
direct perpetrators natin dito. So it doesn't really
So yung 3% sa labas. Ano ba pinaglalaban niya?
make sense to keep saying
Nasa bahay daw nung naaras sa TikTok eh. Kaya considered sa bahay yun. Sa bahay yun. Ay, naklanto ko naman.
that the reality without actually looking what reality states. Realistically speaking,
Okay, iba yung what reality states. Iba yung realistically. What the hell are you talking? What the hell are you talking about, dude?
women get harassed not even outside or not even by strangers.
Clickbait thumbnail, pangalang ng babaeng revealing clues, makikita na may factor. Di ba? So, hinaharas pala.
Strangers or criminals. They are harassed by their fathers, by
Yung malapit
brothers, by
sa'yo.
cousins, by
Di ba? Ang awkward ng position mo. Kasi, yung kino-call out mo pala, yung sa loob ng bahay nila, yun pala yung nangaharas. So it assumes na family member nila yung hinaharas nila. Wait. Saan ba sila nag-comment? Sino ba yung minamanyak nila? Yung nasa TikTok. Wait, ibig sabihin lahat sila kamag-anak nila yung isang taong yon?
their
Vicinity mo.
coworkers, by people they know. And this is statistics and data does not lie. So, para sa akin, hindi lang po siya nagme-make sense na we keep telling women what to wear and what to do and expect them to think that it's concern.
So parang sinabi niya dito na paano mo sinasabing concern to kung mismo mga tao malalapit sa kanila ang nasa-seduce doon sa kanilang suot o yung naapektuhan sa kanilang sinusuot.
Pero ba't kailangan i-assume kagad na concern, no?
Do you think
Report, catcalling, no? Tapos, ito, pakita ko sa yung mismong study ng ano niya. Ito. Nagre-report. Oh. Ayan na, oh. Punta tayo sa data ha, nung mismo citation mo. Percentage of male respondents according to the place of occurrence of harassment in relation to the total sample. The internet. So, sino kinu-call out mo ulit, chika, Gabe? Kung ang argumento mo 97% is nangyayari sa loob ng bahay. Ano yung role play? Oh, sarili mo citation. Oh. Malls, markets, streets, workplace, the internet. Eh, sabi niya, minors are responsibilities ng parents. If dress isn't a factor, then why isn't everyone wear lingerie in the streets? Exactly. What's the purpose of lingerie? To feel good. Oh. Tamo 16% within the circle of friends. Ang baba! Oh! The home, 1.8. O paano mo ngayon re-reconcile yung sinasabi mo sa UK? The only explanation there is my explanation about the Pew Research. Sa too secular, taka too religious. The tall poppy syndrome. The tall poppy syndrome argument. $1.8 yung home, di ba?
That you understand women's
Nope.
struggles better than them.
No, you cannot, and vice versa,
Alright,
yes.
perfect. Now that we can agree that we men
Perfect daw. Perfect.
do not really understand what women go through on a daily basis, do you
How can you talk for them?
understand how men think?
No, of
Okay.
course not all of them.
No, like men in general.
In general,
I think,
wala.
there-
Tamo the reason why I said no sa women is also the same reason na I said no sa men. Why? You're a psychologist, right? Is every human unique? Then how can you then say, I know them? Of course not. Iba-iba yung subjective experience natin. Yung mga katulad mo lang na pretentious ang magkasabi ng yes. Ang cute, sino kinokolot mong leche ka? Si Gabe. Si Charis. Alam mo pagpunta mo ng club, like beer house, pupunta ka doon, right? Magpapaupo yung manager, papakilala sa iyo mga babae, right? Okay. Ano mangyayari sunod? Mamimili ka ng table o hindi ka magte-table. Nag-table ka ngayon. So ngayon, sabihin natin sinansingan mo sinansingan. Ano ang thin line ng harassment at hindi? Consent. Nasari si Paulo, hindi. Consent is the only thing na nagdi-divide dun sa dalawa. Sabihin na natin naging rough yung lalaki. But there's consent. Is that sexual harassment? Of course not. Why? Because there's consent, right? O ngayon, here's the problem. Kung gusto nyo na mawala rin yan, ipagbawal nyo rin yung pagiging rough. Gusto nyo rin makontrol yan. Okay. Criminalize premarital sex. Because they cannot demand or they cannot fantasize on things they don't know or they haven't experienced. But hindi namin kayo narinig na pinag-uusapan yung premarital sex? Why? Alam ko na yung sasagot nyo. Freedom. My body, my choice. If it's convenient sa inyo, then go ahead. Pag hindi na convenient, hindi pwede. Ban porn sites. Hindi pwede premarital. Maging mahigpit sa prostitution. No sexualization na advertisement. Like sa mga acts. No sexualization. Now, go ahead. Wear whatever you want to wear. In the streets. Paano yung kainuman na friend na babae? Siya na una, pinalagan mo lang, paano yon? Kaya nga sabi ko there are nuances there. Kasi, kaya nga yung false dichotomy sinabi ko, di ba? Kasi you're assuming na mutually exclusive yung pag sinisi mo yung perpetrator, hindi mo na pwede sisihin to isa yung kabila. Hindi, may third option kasi pwede mo sisihin sila parehas. Pwede mo sisihin lang to. Pwede mo sisihin lang to. Why? Kasi may different circumstances doon. Natividad Daniela. Bossing kayo, masabi mo pa sa pangbablak ni Gabe sa mga disagree sa kanya, ano yon, kulto? Hindi. My channel, my choice. My channel, my choice ang tawag doon. Pro-life. Pro-lie.
There are a lot of people from your community stating that the reason why they push for these agendas is because they are concerned with their women in their lives because they know how men think.
I'm sorry, Gabe, but I think you should answer first. Do you disagree that it's happening, the sexual harassment, because
No.
of the clothing? Are you denying that that's happening in reality?
According to UN, 1 in 3 women get harassed and there is no positive correlation between what you're wearing and how you're sexually harassed. According to UN, CDC, RAIN, National Sexual Assault Coalition, and many more studies.
Gabe moves tawag
There
doon.
is no positive correlation between what you're wearing and how you're sexually harassed.
So sabi na walang apekto ang iyong sinusuot para harassing ka na isang tao. Mapa-revealing man or sobrang takip na takip ka, hindi daw siya factor doon.
So, who are you calling out then?
Exactly. Ang awkward, di ba? Kasi di ba, yung thirst trap. What was the issue there? Di ba minamanyak sila sa comment section? Right? Okay. Are you denying that's a form of sexual harassment or not? Ang awkward kung sinasabi mo sa bahay lang, who are you calling out then? Weird. Kasi tinira siya ng isang babae. Na andyan ka lang dyan sa podcast, nagpo-podcast ka lang. Wala ka namang ginagawa. Yeah, kailangan mo yata door to door. Why? Because it happens within its family members.
If this is not happening in reality,
I'm not saying that it's not happening in reality.
Kaya pala tinatanong niya dun sa reality kasi gusto malaman ni Kayo sinong sinasabihan mo, sinong kino-call out mo dun kung hindi siya nangyari sa reality. Kaya pala tinatanong niya paulit-ulit itong kung nangyayari ba to in reality.
It is happening but not in the magnitude that you're thinking of because there is no
Yung
positive
degree.
Tapos na. Diba? Tapos na.
correlation in any major studies made by global institutions such as
Ang bait niya dun sa babae na sinabihan siya ng may nangyari, nagpa-podcast lang siya. Oh, ang bait niya. Binara siya eh. Tapos na. Ayan na. Hindi na-catch ni ano yun. Hindi na-catch ni Paulul. Brigidose. Yan yung KO sa kanya eh. Okay. Actually, dyan ko nalaman yung ano. Dyan ko nalaman, I'm gonna Socratic the shit out of you. Bakit? Dito. Hindi niya alam, test ko to sa kanya.
Ito, out mo doon kung hindi siya nangyari sa reality. Kaya pala tinatanong niya paulit-ulit itong kung nangyayari ba to in reality.
It is happening, but not in the magnitude that you're thinking of, because there is no positive
degree.
correlation in
Tama.
any...
Hindi daw siya factor
Pakinggan nyo.
doon.
So, who are you calling out then? If this is not happening in reality,
I'm not saying that it's not happening in reality.
Kaya pala
Okay, naisip ko, sabi, I'm not saying it's not happening in reality. What does it mean? Are you saying na it is happening or it's neither nor? So sabi ko, so it is happening.
tinatanong niya doon sa reality kasi sumalaman ni Kayo sinong sinasabihan mo, sinong kino-call out mo doon kung hindi siya nangyari sa reality. Kaya pala tinatanong niya paulit-ulit itong kung nangyayari ba to in reality.
It is happening, but not in the magnitude that you're thinking of.
It's not in the magnitude that you're thinking. Sabi ko, okay. I'm gonna do a Socratic method on your ass now. That doesn't sound right. It came out wrong. That did not come out right. Salmoniferous ba yan? Di ba? Diyan ko na ano. Sabi ko, okay. Interesting. Sa side. We got your point, Kayo. Good.
Because there is no positive
degree.
correlation in any major studies.
Ito, tapos, actually marami in-explain din dito ni Paulo yung ano, panoorin nyo na lang. Hinahanap ko yung ano eh. May assumption ka.
So, yeah, through
Ako salita. Sabihin, sinasabi din
institutions that do this research and say
kasi they feel dirty to someone.
there is
I'm sorry, I disagree with the
Ito.
out of control because data clearly suggests that there is no positive correlation on how kung paano ka nasi sexually harassed at kung anong suot mo.
I'm sorry, I disagree with the positive correlation. There is a positive correlation, but there's no direct causation.
So ano?
Halinaw na sinabi ko, right? Kaya ang gagawin ka actually ni Gabe dyan, paghihiwalay niya na yung next.
Correlation is not causation.
Are you disagreeing with the studies made by CDC and UN?
No. Let me give you a research, a pure research. Yung sinasabi mo sa conservative countries, right? A factor in sexual nuances in there. Okay, alam mo yung idea ng tall poppy syndrome, right?
Yeah.
Okay, the
Yung
tall
ano?
poppy syndrome is kapag
Yung mas
ikaw
successful ka.
ikaw mismo ay
Ikaw yung binabatak.
na siya sa way nagmukhang unique, right? Not
Egypt po,
Mo muna yung mic
research
mo.
yan eh. You just can't.
Ano to?
Hang on, pakitapusin mo muna ako, Gabe. Twins, right?
is Egypt a conservative country or not?
Hang on. Pakitapusin mo muna ako, Gabe.
Yeah.
Kasi sa pure research na sinasabi mo.
Sara
sa
mo muna
pure
yung
research
mic mo.
yan eh. Yung sinasabi mo yan is it dependent.
Kaya dapat
Tama. Bastos, di ba? Hindi man na ganon. Di ba? Kasi gusto niyang ipakita yan to actually magkaroon ng ano sa viewers na he's disrespecting me. Dude. Like I said, paluluhurin kita. Shit, that did not come out right again. Tapusin na nga natin to. Basta, Paulol, ikaw correct lang kita na sinabi mo sa citation. Actually, may citation ako dyan. Nagbanggit ako na citation dyan. Puro peer-reviewed. Okay. Peer-reviewed. Tsaka yung sa assumption, I think, wala minor lang naman. Pero, ako actually nag-cite ng mga peer-reviewed dyan.